What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Face the Heels, episode 20. My name is Ben Cornett. This is my Twitter handle at BennyBoy702. Give me a like and a follow on that, as well as my other social media outlets. You can watch this show also on my YouTube channel at BenCornett9015, and of course on the Ben Zone in Facebook. And if you're not in the Ben Zone on Facebook, you're just a friend of mine on Facebook. I got that. I'm sharing that as well. So now, I want to make a correction here. I said episode 20. This is episode 20. Now, on the title, it'll say episode 21. That's just a mistype. It's actually episode 20. So just, that way we don't have any confusion or anything. It is episode 20 of Face the Heels. Anyway, what is going on tonight? We got, quite a bit to talk about. I won't be on here too long tonight, but I did want to do a show. And as you see in this ticker there, we're going to have some AEW talk, as well as we had a injury at a live event this weekend for WWE that was on the SmackDown side. So why don't we get to that real quickly. Put that right up there. Bayley was in a four-way match with Charlotte Flair, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. And during the match, I think it was like in the middle of the match, she apparently suffered a knee injury. Now, we don't know the extent of it right now. She's going to get an MRI on it. I'll show you right here. There's just some photos there. Apparently, it looked like she was trying to avoid, either Asuka was trying to do a clipper by the knee, or not sure what it looked like, but she ended up going down, holding her knee. She couldn't get back up. The referee checked on her. Now, normally what the ref will do, and this is kayfabe, will, whisper in her ear and tell her if she's okay or not. And if, like Bayley right there says, no, I can't move it, then the referee will do what's called, they throw the X up, meaning to get the medical team out and take her to the back. So she couldn't continue in the match. From what it looked like, she just couldn't put any weight on it. Now, again, we don't know the extent of the injury and I saw the video on it. You can see it on YouTube. There really wasn't much contact with the knee from Asuka's. So usually non-contact injuries they're actually worse than contact injuries. Most of them can be. Bayley's had knee injuries before. A few years ago, if you remember, she had a torn ACL. She ended up being out for over a year. So, and it looked like it was the right knee, and I believe it was the right knee that she tore ACL back in 2019, early 2020, I believe. So, hopefully, as of now, we don't know the extent of it. She was getting to be in a program with Shotzi, and if you didn't see SmackDown Friday night, Shotzi had a video she put out there, shaving her head and everything. Actually, is because Bayley cut a piece of Shotzi's hair off the week before. Now, there's a little backstory behind that, real quick. Again, I'm kayfabing. Shotzi's sister, unfortunately, she's having a battle with cancer. So, according to reports, she went ahead and shaved her head to support her sister, which I think is really cool. I think that's awesome. So, they want to incorporate that in the storyline. Not the cancer part, but just the fact that her hair got cut and Shotzi's going to have a new look. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is because now, depending on how serious the injury is, we don't know if Bayley's going to be out for a while, or if she might just be on the shelf for a short time. But that program could be put on hold, and that'd be a shame for Shotzi because she's getting a little bit of momentum. She's going to be feuding with one of the top female performers in WWE, and you just hate to see it happen. Injuries. Again, we don't know the extent of it. It could be just a bruise. Hopefully that's the best case scenario, just a bruise. Might not be able to wrestle for a couple weeks, so Bayley can still be on the show. I mean, she just doesn't have to do any non-contact stuff. But yeah, that feud was going to happen, and it may still be. Again, we just gotta hope and pray that especially if you're a Bayley fan, that this is just a minor injury, nothing major. But from the looks of it, it didn't look very good. But again, we'll see what happens as we move forward. So yeah, there we go. Let's get into a little AEW talk. We don't really talk a lot about AEW on this platform, even though we should, because this is Face the Heels, this is wrestling, not just WWE. I don't want to just be a WWE show. I want to be a wrestling show that covers as many companies as possible. AEW, Impact, New Japan, NWA, GCW, stuff like that. So with AEW, it's been pretty interesting lately, especially with their new show Collision. They're on their, I believe it was their 5th episode this past weekend. One of the matches on there, they had a 2 out of 3 falls match between FTR, the AEW Tag Team Champions, going up against Bullet Club Gold, Jay White, and Juice Robinson. It was, I gotta say, as a wrestling fan, from a pure wrestling standpoint, it was probably one of the best 2 out of 3 falls matches I've ever seen. Normally I'm not the biggest fan of 2 out of 3 falls, especially in tag teams. I do like them in singles competition. But usually with tag teams, it can get a little cluttered and everything. But this one kept my attention the whole time. FTR ended up winning the match 2-1. Just really good back and forth matches, good pacing to it. Didn't rush everything. They told a great story in the ring. It was a fun match. And, to me, these are probably, FTR is probably the best tag team, I would say in every company, not just AEW, but in other companies as well. They went up again right there. They went up against Jay White and Juice Robinson, Bullet Club Gold. This was a very good match. 2 out of 3 falls. Sometimes, like I said, it can, with tag teams, it could be a little cluttery, timing and everything like that. But, and also you got to figure that this match was an hour long. It was an hour long. Technically, if you want to get real technical, it's like 59 minutes and 40 seconds. But, having a match an hour long like that, just any match it can be difficult to keep everyone's attention span. And this one kept my attention from start to finish. So, like I said, the match had great pacing, good timing. Everybody was able to get their stuff in. The typical heels, dominated the majority of the match, while the baby faces, made the comebacks and all 3 of the falls, and just a lot of good back and forth. A lot of near falls, near pin falls. And I've said before in the past, I'm not the biggest fan of more than 3 or 4 near falls in a match, because I think it just, it takes kind of the excitement away. And I've said also in the past that a lot of the moves we used to see nowadays, or back then in the past, we had the DDTs, the power bombs, elbow drops, stuff like that. Everybody can kick out of those, but yet they can, get a cradle for a 1, 2, 3. So I wish we'd put more emphasis on, big moves that make it look like they can finish off an opponent. But anyway, it's a little nitpicking. But the match itself, the 2 out of 3 falls match, again, great stuff. If you haven't seen it, take some time to watch it. It's a real good match. Again, FTR, probably the best tag team in the business, in my opinion. And, Jay White and Juice Robinson looked really good. They say just because you don't go over doesn't mean you can't get over. And I believe Jim Ross says that, just because you don't go over doesn't mean you don't get over. And certainly Jay White and Juice Robinson definitely got over that night. So, even on a loss, it looked really good. Both teams dominated. And, again, great match. Highly recommend it. Watch it. As far as Collision goes, the actual show, to me, I think it's better than Dynamite. I just like the pace of it. Pure wrestling. Not too much silliness. And again, nothing against like Excalibur or Shivani or Taz. They're good announcers, but I do like the duo of, well, I think it was Ian Riccaboni who took Kevin Kelly's place. I don't know why that was, but because Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness they called Collision, and they were doing a very good job. And I thought, well, why is Ian there this week? Maybe there was a situation where Kevin Kelly couldn't make the show. But credit to Ian Riccaboni, who calls Ring of Honor too. By the way, he just signed a deal with AEW, multi-year deal, so congratulations to him. Him and Nigel were great on the mic. They, especially in that tag match, they called that match incredibly well. Told a story, talked about the wrestlers. Ian plugged, ticket sales. He plugged the crowd in Calgary. They made it feel like it was a big time show, and that's what you got to do. Especially, and it was in Calgary this week, obviously. And we'll get to why they're in Calgary as well in a little bit. But it was a big night, just a big night. It felt like a big show. And, lately Dynamite, the show on Wednesday nights, doesn't feel as big, even though next week they'll have their Blood and Guts, 2-ring, 2 steel cage match. With the Elite, the Golden Elite, and against the Blackpool Combat Club. But we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah. Also on that show, we had the Owen Hart Invitational Tournament. As you know, they do this every year now, AEW. And this year the finals took place in Calgary, where the late Owen Hart was born and raised. The winners were Ricky Starks and Will Nightingale. Will Nightingale defeated Ruby Soho in the finals, and Ricky Starks beat CM Punk in the finals. A little bit of a controversy with Ricky Starks holding the ropes at the end of the match to steal the win. We could be seeing a Ricky Starks heel turn, which I'm good with. Ricky, I've been very high on Ricky Starks ever since he got to AEW. I seen his work with the NWA, the one with Billy Corgan is running right now for the last several years. Ricky's just great wrestler, good promo. He's got the look, wrestles very well, and I've always felt like this guy could be a star. And getting a win over CM Punk, that's huge. Punk putting Starks over like that, really huge. The tournament, the Owen Hart tournament, I felt like this year it was kind of, I don't know if it just didn't feel as big. Again, I like what AEW is doing with Owen Hart. At least he's getting the recognition he deserves. I know WWE's not going to do that. They're probably not even allowed to do that because the bad blood with WWE and Martha Hart, Owen's widow. But this tournament's good. It was good for Ricky, good for Willow Nightingale. She's another star who I think's got a lot of charisma, a good look to her. It's different, very charismatic. I think this is the right call. Both women winning, but I'm sorry, call Ricky Starks a woman. Willow and Ricky winning this tournament, I think, is good for them. Gets them over. I'm for this. I'm fine with the tournament, but I just it's got to feel a little bigger. I don't know if they put enough emphasis on it. This year, they just didn't. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't promote it well enough. I don't know, but I just hope next year they can make this tournament feel bigger, than it was this past year. Ricky Starks, Will Nightingale, they are your Owen Hart Cup winners for 2023. And again, I think both deserve it. I think, Willow, she's, slowly becoming a star in AEW, as well as she was the former New Japan Strong Style champion. She recently lost that belt, but there's a lot of good things for Willow coming up. I think she's going to do well in AEW and in New Japan too. So same with Ricky. I think this is a springboard for him to develop into a big time player in AEW, and especially with Collision. This is going to be a show where I think this show fits Ricky Starks as well. You need some fresh young talent, and you got CM Punk there, you got FTR there, so you got some established names like Malachi Black, and the House of Black, Miro. So you got some recognizable names, Andrade, that are going to be on that show. So for guys like Ricky Starks and like a Scorpio Sky, I think this is a chance for those two guys to really break out and really put this show on the map. AEW has had a lot of signings. They've had a lot of talent just not being able to be on the shows, on Dynamite, Rampage. So it's really nice to see that guys like a Ricky Starks, a Scorpio Sky, an Andrade, some of the more, experienced guys, Miro, get an opportunity to showcase their stuff on another platform. And I think this is Collision. I think is the place to do it. People say it's not really a brand split, a hard brand split, but you can kind of see it because you don't really see like a Ricky Starks or a CM Punk on Dynamite anymore. Same with FTR. So it's kind of cool to see they have their own show. Hopefully with Collision, they can keep growing, and be just as good as Dynamite. Must see. Now, again, they're in a tough spot. Saturday night's not the best night because people go out. I don't worry about that. I'm 43, so I don't go anywhere. So I got a lot of time on my hands. Some Saturdays I might not be able to watch it. Maybe I got something else going on, but I'll still watch it, DVR it, and but this Saturday I was there, and again, the show was in Calgary. I had the Calgary Stampede, so the crowd was really good. They were really into it. So again, Collision. Hopefully, they can build on this momentum and keep it going till we get to All In. And before we talk about All In, let me read some of the comments here. Scott is first. Thank you, Scott. And he says, "You're doing a great job, Ben." I appreciate that, Scott. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, sir. Let's get back to what I said about AEW, about All In. Apparently, we got news this week that All In is going to be a pay-per-view. Now, I'm kind of surprised by that, considering that a week later you have All Out. You have another pay-per-view. So we're gonna have 2 pay-per-views in 1 week, in 2 weeks span, I should say. And that's Sunday the 27th, and then September 3rd is All Out in Chicago. So you got to go from London 1 week to Chicago the next week. They're both pay-per-views. I am a little surprised. I thought AEW would, the All In show, the London one, I would have thought maybe they would put it on Max, like as a special, considering that they're under the Warner Brothers umbrella, Warner Brothers Discovery, and I would have thought this would be a great opportunity for, to put it on a platform like Max, maybe get new subscribers with this kind of content. But they're going to go with the pay-per-view portion of it now. There's been talk of maybe a bundle where you can get both shows for a discounted price. But on one hand, I get it. It's a big show, London, AEW. You want to put it on, pay-per-view. But again, you don't have any matches announced yet, and which kind of surprises me as well. We are July 17th, and we don't have any matches announced yet. We don't have any programs kicking off. Now, I know there's still about 5-6 weeks left, but I would think by now you'd kind of have an idea of what matches you're going to put on there, So with it being on pay-per-view, that's tough, to get people to pay. Usually the AEW charges $50 for their pay-per-views here in the States. So with those 2 pay-per-views, they're probably going to be $100. So you're asking consumers to pay $100 for 2 shows in 2 weeks. And that's pretty tough. And again, there's been talk of a bundle, but we haven't heard anything about that yet. Maybe we will in the next couple weeks or so. But my personal feeling is, I don't know. That's asking a lot for people to put down $100 for 2 shows. Unless like I said, they do a bundle and be like, okay, we'll have this bundle for, if you pay for both shows, we'll charge you $79.99, be $80, $20 off, something like that. But I think they're missing out on an opportunity to, put it on Max, maybe get new subscribers to Max, and see how it goes on that platform, because also there's been talk from Warner Brothers Discovery that they would like to do more monthly pay-per-views. Now with me, I'm kind of more of I like the 4 pay-per-views a year because it gives you a lot of time to build storylines, give it a lot of, build upon that show, slowly. But with monthly pay-per-views, it's a little harder to do that, because you got to speed up your creative, speed up the storylines, and that could be a challenge. So, but again, this is coming from Warner Brothers Discovery, possibly doing more pay-per-views. And if that's the case, then, Tony Khan's got to do with that. He's kind of got to go with the flow, so it may not all be on Tony Khan, but again, I do prefer the 4 pay-per-views a year format. It, again, builds storylines, takes longer to build storylines, makes it more exciting, gets you more interested. Where, WWE, you have 12 pay-per-views or premium live events a year, and it's just like, okay, well, I've seen this before. I can just wait till next month to watch the next PLE kind of thing. Now, they've had some good shows lately. Money in the Bank, Backlash. They've been good shows, so they've done pretty well lately. But again, I'm old school. I like the 4 to 5 pay-per-view a year model. I think it makes creative better. It, makes the storylines mean more. you're not rushing it as much. You can have a nice little build for each storyline and character. So let's see. Johnny Dean says Ben Cornette just borrowed the money from Scott Taylor. Okay. No, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Again, Johnny, they could be doing a bundle, perhaps, with the shows, the pay-per-views, but I don't know. We got to wait and see what AEW says. It's kind of a sort of in a holding pattern right now, but yeah, it should be a very interesting time coming up for AEW because, and Johnny, we mentioned on Have At It Friday night with the writer's strike going down. I think it was last week's Face the Heels with Nick Rosario. I talked about how without any new TV shows, reality TV shows on streaming platforms and on regular TV, this would be a great time for wrestling to and other sports to pick up the pace, get new fans in, fans that have never watched wrestling before, or fans that have were wrestling fans at one time, stopped watching it. Maybe you can get them back in, now that there's no new TV shows coming up, because of the writer's strike. This would be a great opportunity, for both AEW and WWE. So, because WWE and AEW, they have independent writers. They're not part of a union or anything. So, with that being said, why not? Why not get more viewers? Try to come up with some new ideas. Maybe come up with another TV type show. So, yeah. Johnny says, with the writer strike, Ben Cornette, you should apply for a writing job with them. I wish. Also, let's see. It was on Have At It, Ben Cornette. Thank you, Johnny. By the way, that was a great show Friday night. Our good friend Andrew Faubert, he has a great garage show where he works on cars. And that was good entertainment right there. I think we may be on to something. We'll have to ask Andrew if he wants to do another show like that. So, and Scott Taylor says, "Stop counting my money, bitch." Okay. Well, I don't want your money, Scott, but I appreciate you offering. So, with that being said, like I said, that's pretty much all the wrestling talk we got this week. Nothing's really going on. We're just having some continuing some build to SummerSlam. Got Raw on the background right now. Oh, I do want to mention real quick, we did get new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions tonight. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green are your new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. They beat Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez on Raw. There was a backstage interaction earlier where Rhea Ripley, the WWE Women's Champion, Women's World Champion, she ended up attacking Raquel, injuring her knee. So it put Raquel in a tough spot. She was, from storyline standpoint, she was having a hard time walking on it. So Sonya and Chelsea took advantage of it, and they become your new women's tag team champions on Raw. I'm fine with that, although, they only live in Raquel only had it for a couple weeks. I'm not a big fan of quick title changes, but if the plan is to go with Rhea and Raquel at SummerSlam, then okay, because Rhea needs an opponent. I don't know if I don't think Raquel's going to win the title, but I think it's going to eventually lead to a Rhea Becky Lynch match. There's been some interactions, some teases the last few weeks of Rhea and Becky, being around each other. So there's not been any promos or physical interaction, but just kind of like stare downs and stuff like that. So That match will ultimately happen. I don't know. Could be Survivor Series, could be before that, maybe the Saudi Arabia show in November, maybe sooner. We don't know, but that's ultimately going to be the next program, most likely for Rhea, is um, Becky Lynch. So, and with Becky, she's going up against Trish Stratus at SummerSlam. So after that, that's what we could have. So, which I think is good. I think that'd be a good program. Could be one, and um, Raw, Rhea needs a good program. I think ever since she beat Charlotte at WrestleMania, she really hasn't had any, really hasn't had a lot of title defenses. I mean, look who she's gone up against. She's gone up against Natalia and Zelina Vega. I mean, she's really not had any programs with other women wrestlers, and she's been doing the Judgment Day thing. Her and Dominic, it's been good. Don't get me wrong. I think it's been good. Rhea's a great character. Her and Dominic go together very well. But I think it's time that we do see Rhea in a big time program on Raw with somebody. Again, the women's division's not been, especially on Raw, it hasn't been really great. Because on SmackDown you got Charlotte, Asuka, Bianca, Bayley. You got a strong women's roster on SmackDown, whereas Raw you got Rhea, you got Becky Lynch, but they've been away from each other and they've been doing their own thing. Becky's working with Trish right now, so after that you really don't have a lot. You got Liv Morgan, but you kind of been there, done that with her. Raquel, I don't know if she's a main eventer, but definitely a mid-card performer. They just haven't had a lot there. It's just not as strong as SmackDown. Let's put it that way. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And tonight, Cody had another altercation with Brock Lesnar. So we know SummerSlam's, that's going to be their match. It's pretty the rubber match, and after that, whoever wins, I would probably say Cody's going to win that, and then they're going to move on to their, Brock's probably going to take time off. Cody's going to move on to another program. So yeah, SummerSlam we're getting there. Just a few more weeks, and can't wait. Should be a very good show. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take off for the night. Like I said, this wasn't going to be a very long show, but I did want to get this show going, for a little bit. My friend Nick Rosario wasn't available this week, but he said he should be good to go next week to be on here. So we'll have him on and we'll do another great Face the Heels episode. So with that being said, everybody, let's read one more comment. Johnny says, Scott Taylor, bitch, don't make me slam you through a cage like Foley. I'd love to see that. Maybe on the on an episode of Great Scott, which I believe is going to be on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, I believe. So, I think I got that right if I read the private chat. So check out Great Scott. That'll be on the Ben Zone with Scott Taylor. Also, we have other great shows on the Ben Zone as well. You saw Truth Be Told tonight. Sean Spencer and Nick Rosario, they did a very good job. As you know, we got Have At It every Friday nights. We just have at it, talk about anything. I put other shows on there. Nathan Snell's got a show. He did his show this morning, talked about the WNBA. So good stuff from Nathan Snell. Peter Blake, we got his show. It's on the Ben Zone as well, the Sports Web. Two Giants and Two Giant Goofballs. That's Andrew Davis and his friend. They have a talk about New York Giants football on. I put that on the Ben Zone as well. Who else I got? Clutch Sports Talk with my friend Ryan Flowers. He does this show every Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. So check his show out as well. So all those shows are on the Ben Zone. I like sharing those shows, and as well, and Johnny just put up here tomorrow night, Tales from the Driver's Side. Him and Sean Spencer, another great episode, another great show. Just talk about their tales from being in the driver's seat. Very interesting. I think it's cool. Road stories, all different kinds of stuff. So it's all on the Ben Zone. Check them out. They'll be put on there every day. So you always got something to watch. So with that being said, I am going to take off, guys. I'm about to lose my voice. It's been a long day, a lot of talking. And I got to finish this beer. So everybody, we will see you next time here on Face to Heels. Again, more importantly than that, please, I'm begging you. Don't have to beg. Don't have to get on my knees and beg. Please, like and share this. So that gets me, this grows this show. The more likes, the better. The more you share, the more popular this show will get. So please like and share this show and my other shows and everyone else's shows that I put on the Ben Zone. Appreciate that. And everybody, have a good week. Enjoy your week. And we will see you next time here on Face the Heels. Take care.